Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 2 of Press Start, the podcast that's anything and everything video games. I'm your host, Azure, and today we're going to be talking about the Golden Joystick Awards. How long ago did they happen? The awards, this year's awards took place on Friday, November 20th. First times it was that, you're lying to me. Okay, they happened just recently. It was on November 20th because November 20th is in 4 days. But we're gonna go through each of the categories. There's a lot of categories and a lot of stuff to talk about, so this is pretty much what the whole episode's going to be. And if there's time at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about Final Fantasy 16 because I started playing it. So, the first category, it's no in real specific order. I'm just going what's on the website of what they for the games and all that. So it'll just be easier to go down. The first category was best storytelling. Nominees were the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, never heard of it. Armored Core 6. I couldn't say I haven't played it, but I've heard that it's a good game. I don't know how much story there was. Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. Didn't never heard of that. Paranorma Sight, The Seven Mysteries of Hanjo. Never heard of it. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Have heard of it, haven't played it. I haven't really seen anyone talk about it either. And the winner for best storytelling, though, was Baldur's Gate 3. No surprise, I have no issues here. This is, they got it right. If any other game besides Baldur's Gate 3 won best storytelling, there would have been a problem. I don't think anyone has anything bad to say about that. They deserved it. It's a great game. The story's great so far. So they deserved it. Let's go to the Still Playing Award. Like still, Still. There's a bunch of games in here, and some of these I don't understand why, because they're still popular, still being like updated, new content still coming out for the most part. Like Genshin Impact, that game's gonna keep playing. Sims 4, I don't know if they've done much when the last new like DLC or something for that for like Fortnite shouldn't be in here. It's still relevant. Naraka Blade Point, never heard of that. GTA Online, I can see that being in here because there hasn't been much to it, and people are still waiting for GTA 6. Warframe, I didn't know people still played Warframe. That's a shock to me. Valorant, that makes sense, but it's still a very popular game. I don't know why that was on there. Counter Strike Global Offensive and Counter Strike 2, they put them together. Apex Legends, Dota 2, Call of Duty. A bunch of these are like Valorant, CS, Apex, Dota, Call of Duty. I mean, Dota 2, I don't know when I mean, they have championships. There's still esports for that. So I don't know why those are still like considered in the still playing award. I feel like this would be an award for games that came out a while that people are that hasn't had much new updates, no new DLCs, and not like a competitive online game. I don't feel like those games should be still in the still playing award. But the winner of Still Playing Award, and I kind of agree with this one as well. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky won the Still Playing Award, and it makes sense because No Man's Sky has been out for a while. They've done a lot of updates. They've added a bunch of things. They've changed bunch of things to make it relevant. Because I know there was a whole bunch of issues with the game at first. People didn't like it. It saw a huge decrease. They listened to the community. They added a bunch of stuff to have people playing it who were originally playing it still play it and want to play it, and have new people buying the game and want to play it now because it's getting so many good reviews. People are talking good stuff about it. So I agree with that one. What is this? I think that says best visual design. So best visual design, the nominees were Starfield, Which, from everything I've seen of Starfield, it is a very pretty game. Hi-Fi Rush, I've seen very few. I've seen some of it. It is very good. I do agree that deserves to be nominated. Viewfinder, I don't know if I know what that is. I've never heard of Viewfinder. There's also Lies of P and Street Fighter 6. Yeah, I've seen. I know what both of those are. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I don't know what either of those games are. I'm not someone who's been in the dark, living under a rock. But Liza P, it was good from this cutscenes, from all the gameplay and cutscenes and trailers I've seen of it. It is a good visual. Same with Street Fighter 6. But the best visual design, the winner, Baldur's Gate 3. I will have to say, as much as I've loved and enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3 so far, I don't know, compared to these other games, if it should have been the winner. I can see why, but with the whole fact that a lot of the game is top down and kind of has that like Diablo kind of feel to it, you don't really get to fully get lost in the visuals. And I can't say the graphics are very high quality compared to a lot of games. Like, honestly, me personally, from all these games I've seen and the visuals of each one, honestly, I think Starfield should have took this one. I think it should have gotten best visual design. As much as I love Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield just had better visuals. And I don't think that's will get people upset. I mean, people might be upset at Starfield because it's Bethesda and how Bethesda deals with shit. But honestly, I think Starfield should have won that. But I guess I guess not. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that besides I think Starfield should have won it. Studio of the Year. Digital Eclipse. Yeah, exactly. Starfield should have won it because, yeah, from what everyone says, there's not much story, not much beef to it, but the visuals are wonderful. But yeah, Studio of the Year, Digital Eclipse. I don't know that studio. Nintendo EPD. That's just Nintendo, so that makes sense why it's on here. Me Games. No idea. Remedy Entertainment. No idea. This is probably the one category that know very little amount. Because unless it's like Square Enix, Larian Studios, or something like that, or like Square Enix, Larian Studios, Bandai Namco, I don't really know many studio names. And then also CD Project Red, because Cyberpunk 2077 came out this year. Was it this year? I know they added a DLC and stuff, so maybe. But, I mean, as you guys have probably caught on to how I'm doing this, I'm saying the nominees and then the winner. So this one might be obvious as well. Okay, the expansion came out this year. Okay, that makes sense. But the studio of the year, and unless I looked up and what these other studios games were made, I mean I know Nintendo, but studio of the year is Larian Studios. The people who brought bleh, the people who brought us Baldur's Gate 3. It makes sense. The game has been great. So much of the game, the fact that it came out and had no issues. I think that alone of itself, with how most games are nowadays, most games come out and there's glitches, bugs, stuff, and that's like, okay, we're just gonna send it out and then we'll patch it in the next like month. But Larian Studios was like, nah, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be ready to play at launch. Yes, they've done patches to maybe fix little things here and there. I don't think they've really done any. I don't think they've had any patch that had to fix like a game breaking bug that I know of. I haven't heard of any game breaking bugs. Yeah, other studios hate the fact that okay, now they have to up their game and be like, "Oh, we now have to put out games that actually have to work on day one." Surprise! The fact that all these studios, maybe not all these studios, some have only been made came about recently, but for the past 20 years, okay, except for the last 5, 15 years, games came out working and there wasn't any chance for patching. If they wanted to fix something with their game, they had to do like a Game of the Year edition or Best Hits edition or something like that, and that's where they could fix the bugs or any glitches that people found. Larian did that. They just like, nah, game works day one, full steam ahead. So next one, which is actually an interesting one. Best game expansion. I didn't know. I mean, this might just be a Golden Joysticks award. And those who don't know, I don't really know what the Golden Joystick Awards are, but they're not the game awards that's going to be here within the next couple months. The actual game awards will come. So this one is just a studio being like, yeah, we're just going to do something for fun. But best game expansion. Nominees were Power Wash Simulator DLC. I didn't even know they had a DLC. The Elder Scrolls Online Necrom, The Case of the Golden. I mean, and it was an expansion. I don't know. I feel like there should be an own separate topic for MMO expansions, even though there's not many MMOs right now that are making expansions, but that's how I feel. So the Elder Scrolls Online Necrom, The Case of the Golden Idol Mysteries, The Lemurian Vampire, and The Spider of Lanka. What the is the what? uh, that's a lot. Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. I didn't even know Dead Cells had a DLC. I might have to re-download Dead Cells and get that DLC. And then a little to the left, cupboards and drawers. I don't think I know what a little to the left is. It sounds like something like moving out or uh reliable delivery service or whatnot. But as Osiris has pointed out, the best game expansion that the Golden Joysticks have awarded was Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, which honestly surprises me just for the sheer fact of how many issues Cyberpunk had and how so many people were like, I can't say boycotting, but were like very upset, not playing the game, petitioning CD Projekt Red to change a whole bunch of things. I don't think people were at this might have also played to it. People liked the game, but because of all the problems it had, people weren't really looking forward, I guess, maybe to the DLC because they're like, oh crap, they're going to bring out this DLC. It's going to have a bunch of the same problems the main game has, and it's going to be a couple months before we can actually play it. But the fact that it won, that's good. That tells me that CD Projekt Red heard everyone and fixed everything and did it right. And hopefully with Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian Studios having so much success, the games will actually start being games on day one and not a steaming pile of garbage that needs to be fixed in 2 months after the game comes out. Now we have Best Indie Game with the nominees Dave the Diver, Pizza Tower, Dredge, Cocoon, Viewfinder. I've heard of Dave the Tower. The other ones I have not heard of. So And I used to know a bunch of indie games. That used to be like what I'd go to GameStop back in the day for. And I know just saying the word GameStop, I don't know if GameStop's in other countries, but anyone who listens to this who's in America is gonna complain and be like, "Oh, GameStop is horrible, yada yada yada." I'll do a whole episode on GameStop, or at least half an episode on GameStop, because y'all motherfuckers need to use your head and understand what GameStop is. But the winner of the best indie game, and this makes sense because it had a lot of buzz going in. Its Kickstarter, I believe, was filled within a day, and then they were just doing stretch goals, and everyone loves it. It's an ode to old JRPGs. And if me saying all this doesn't ring a bell for anyone of what it might be, it is Sea of Stars, which I want to play. I have it downloaded on the PlayStation, but I have a problem with I have a bunch of games downloaded that were free from from PlayStation Now or PlayStation Plus Essential. Sea of Stars was one of them, so I got it for free. But I just have so many games on that I need to play that I'm trying to get through them. So I do intend to play Sea of Stars eventually. Also, oh, not also. Next is best multiplayer game. Nominees are Exoprimal, never heard of that. Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6, Remnant 2, We Were Here Expeditions, The Friendship. No idea what that is. Hate the fact I hate the fact of the winner of this. Not because I hate the game, but because I guess I'll just say it so I can not have to beat around the bush. The winner, best multiplayer game is Mortal Kombat 1. And why I have a problem with this. I know fighting games are multiplayer, but what I feel like with multiplayer games is like, you know, two or more players like going through a story, going through the game, doing puzzles, fights. I guess like more of RPG or action adventure kind of stuff. That to me is multiplayer. A fighting game is not multiplayer. I mean, it is multiplayer, but it's not what I think of when I think of multiplayer games. So I feel like I don't know. I don't agree with Mortal Kombat. I don't know what Exoprimal is. I don't know what Remnant 2 is, and I don't know what We Were Here Expeditions, the friendship is. So when I say this, even though Diablo 4 has a bunch of hate, I don't think it's a great game from what I've heard. It's very mid. It's kind of gone away from what Diablo is. Well, at least 1 and 2. 3 was kind of the beginning of the downslide. But honestly, I think Diablo 4, in my opinion, call me old school. Diablo 4 should have won it. Because I don't think of multiplayer games as fighting games. That's like its own category. But who am I but some blue cat on the internet? Oh my god. Best what? Oh my goodness gracious. I wish. What is going on with my phone? Hold on. There we go. See if I can get better on here. Ah, here we go. So, the next one is kind of what I like because I feel like this category adds more to the game and everything than what people might first tend to believe. Best audio. We have Stray Gods, haven't heard of it. Hi-Fi Rush, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, never heard of it. Starfield, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I can't say I've heard anything. I know of Hi-Fi Rush. I can't say I've heard of any of. Can't remember any of the soundtracks, music, background music, ambient noise, or whatnot. Starfield, I can't. Same thing. I've seen videos and that, but I can't remember any of the stuff. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, I did beat and play. I remember the music was just pretty, added a lot, just the ambiance of, the monsters making a noise, the you running around on different materials, different grounds like snow, sand, grass, the climbing, the sounds of combat was all great. So if that would have been, I don't, I, because I haven't played the winner. I haven't beat the one who won this. I would have said Tears of the Kingdom would have been my winner for best audio because everything about it was great and you can get lost in it and the sounds. But the winner of best audio was Final Fantasy 16. And so far, what I've played of Final Fantasy 16, I will say the audio is pretty good. But until I beat it, I can't officially say that I agree that the best audio was Final Fantasy 16. The audio is good so far, but I can't say for certain that it is. Best game trailer. This is going to be the one that I know very little about because I'll just say the nominees: Alan Wake 2, The Dark Place, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, official trailer number 3, Baby Steps reveal trailer, Mortal Kombat 1 official It's in Our Blood trailer, Dave the Diver official release month, and Accolades trailer. The only one of these that I can say that I've seen is the Tears of the Kingdom trailer. And honestly, no, I'll say the winner because then I can talk about this. The winner of Best Game Trailer was Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty official cinematic trailer. I can't say I've seen it. I know a lot of people are hyped for it. I know I can't say a lot of people are hyped for it because the original game had so little and people are upset by it. But to me, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's very rare nowadays with new games coming out that I get hyped for games from their trailers. But each of the Tears of the Kingdoms trailers, I can't remember which one was 3, but each one was the reason that when I did have the money to do so, I bought a Switch and the first game I bought was Tears of the Kingdom. I was hyped for that. So to me, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom should have won it. I feel like so far in every category, I mean, they've been in a couple categories. Can't really say that they've been snuffed with about it, but I feel like this one should have been Tears of the Kingdom. Now we get to the first category that I'm gonna have some thoughts on. Let me take a drink real quick. And this one is Best Game Community with nominees of Final Fantasy XIV, Warframe, Deep Rock Galactic, Dreams, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And the winner of it, hold on, give me a second. Whoa, no. I hate that. I'm just trying to move shit around. Okay. So for the best game community, the winner was Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I preface this by saying that this one I have a lot of thoughts about. And this is where I can agree or I can admit that the reason why I have a lot of thoughts about this and I disagree. Did I move again? Why did I move again? Oh my lord. That wasn't supposed to happen. There we go. But why I solely disagree with this and why I know this is such an old school mentality, this is a boomer thought. To me, growing up, when internet was still kind of not really like popular and with playing like single player games and trying to like figure things out, where to get this item, how to do this puzzle, or you want to go this route with this character, you couldn't go on that and look up and figure this out. You either had to, like back in the day, it was like Nintendo Power. They gave you like hints to maybe like, oh, this puzzle, maybe you should try doing it this way, or Game Informers, or there was like PC Magazine or something that had the same thing. You had to either find like a magazine, or you had to have a friend who was also playing the game and knew this and could tell you like, oh, this is how you did this puzzle, or this is how you do this, yada yada. So for me, single player games, like I get it now. The internet's popular. Everyone's always talking. There's message boards. There's Reddit. There's all this talk about. Oh, this is where you get this. Yada yada. But for me, single player games, I feel like shouldn't win best game community. Because when I think of best game community, I'm thinking Final Fantasy 14. I'm thinking of MMOs like Final Fantasy 14, Diablo 4, WoW, those types of games. So for me, I don't agree that. I mean, the community in Baldur's Gate 3, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to hate on that community because I'm a part of the community. Great game, great community. But with my old school thinking and everything, I don't think Baldur's Gate 3 should have won it. It should have been Final Fantasy 14 because they actually have a community in game. The game is all about, I mean, they've changed it to where you can do more of a single player thing because people who play Final Fantasy, they enjoy the single player aspect of it. So that's what they want to do. But for the most part, you're always around people. I can't say it's recency bias. If you or if you do, you're just talking about age recency bias, then yeah. But to me, that's what should have won it. Final Fantasy 14 should have won it. Also because it is a great community. Like unlike WoW, with doing like end game stuff or dungeons and stuff like that, if you're not at a certain item level, you're not even given a chance. People aren't even going to help you with get up to the item level, or if you are at item level or you're hitting your skills at the wrong time, which is called a rotation. Every class has a different rotation that they say is optimal to do to get the most damage output. Why wouldn't tell you this? People would just hate on you, kick you, and not tell you. Final Fantasy 14 and endgame stuff and all that help you. They'll be like, especially like if you're in a group doing end game stuff, like, hey, your damage isn't that great. What's your rotation? Yada yada. They'll be like, hey, this is the rotation that most everyone uses. They get the most DPS at this rate with this gear, and they'll help you get better. And I'll also just help you with normal things inside the game. That I think Final Fantasy 14 should have won it over Baldur's Gate 3, but that might just be a boomer mentality with how I was raised. Best VR game. This is also another one that I'm gonna have no knowledge of because I don't play VR. I've done it a couple times in the past. Gave me a headache. I don't know if that's just because these were like the first VR headsets, and now they've probably come a long way to make it to where that doesn't happen. But the best VR game, the category, and the nominees are C Smash VRS, Synapse, Vertigo 2 VR, F123 VR, and the Light Brigade. And the winner of it was Horizon Call of the Mountain. Don't know any of these. I have nothing to say about any of this, so I'll just agree with the Golden Joysticks that Horizon deserved it. That is what I'm going to say. Uh, Next on Best Gaming Hardware. There's the Turtle Beach Stealth Pro headset, the Alienware 34AW3423 DWF. What the fuck are the names of some of these things? The Nitro Deck, the Asus ROG Strict Scope 296, and the Samsung 990 Pro. What the? I thought my only knowledge of VR, like VR, is VR chat and like super hot. I don't even know what half of these other things like. Turtle Beach Stealth Pro headset. I know what that is. The Alienware 34 AW 3423 DWF. No idea. The Nitro Deck. That might be like the Stream Deck, the Steam Deck. The Asus ROG Strict Scope 296. No fucking idea. The Samsung 990 Pro. No idea what that is. But I do agree with the winner of this. The winner of the best gaming hardware is PlayStation VR 2. And the only reason why I agree with this, because I know what it is, for one. Two, uh, my buddy, Death, he wants a VR2 and he's looked into a lot of the hardware with it and everything. It's the best VR headset on the market. Like hands down, from what he's said, what he's looked up, and comparing it to other headsets, VR headsets, it is by far the best VR headset. It was something with the eye tracking is much better. You don't need like like how like the was it the Vive or the Steam one? You need the base stations and all that. I think VR2 doesn't need any of that. I don't even think it needs the camera anymore. So I agree with this one because I've heard too many good things about the PSVR 2, and I know soon I'll probably be able to play because I know he's gonna get it and I'm gonna have a chance for it. Breakthrough Award. Uh, there's no other nominees. It just tells the winner. The Big Screen VR is nice, but it went. Yeah, it did. Breakthrough Award doesn't give any of the nominees. It just says the winner, which I'm thinking this is Breakthrough either game or studio, and it's Cocoon slash Geometric Interactive. So that must be game and studio. Don't know about either one of those, so I have nothing to say about that. Critics' Choice Award. Again, no other nominees for this. It just says the winner, which is Alan Wake 2. I have a problem. Not with Alan Wake. Uh, I know I've heard it's a good game. I remember when the first one came out, again, when I was working at GameStop. I know a bunch of Americans just groaned at me saying GameStop. And I remember it being popular. Everyone was wanting it, and it got good reviews. So I'm not saying anything bad about Alan Wake 2. I just have a problem with critics. Because is it critics that, like, there's like one of each critic, like one that is like an expert or whatnot in like one genre, and there's like one critic for each genre, and they all play all the games and all that and come up with this choice? Or is it a whole bunch of critics that, like the style of game that Alan Wake 2 is? So it's like, oh yeah, this is just the best game. This is what we award our Critics' Choice Award to. So I can't really always trust critics. And a big reason of that also is just look at Rotten Tomatoes. There are a lot of movies that get, critics score of like 20 to 30% or whatnot, but the audience gives it like a 70, 80, 90%. So I can't trust critics. They don't know what they're talking about. Best streaming game. Again, same as the last two. No other nominees in there. It just says the winner and it's Valorant. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I can't think of any other game, any other best stream. Well, actually, I can actually. I'm surprised Baldur's Gate 3 didn't win that one. In all honesty, I can't believe Baldur's Gate 3 didn't win best stream game, best streaming game. But people like Valorant. It has a pro scene. There are a lot of prominent figures who do it, who stream it, and talk a lot about it. So I can see why it won, but I'm just a little surprised that Baldur's Gate 3 didn't win it. The category was Best Streaming Game. Best game to stream. So that's why I'm like, I get it, but I think Baldur's Gate 3 should have won that. Uh, yeah, like I said, I can understand why, but I still disagree. Oh, Valorant. That's true. Valorant didn't really have much. It you can't say it really had much competition. So okay, I'll give you that. That makes more sense. Uh, but now here comes a good one. Best. Let's see. What do you say? Went low about a month. Yeah, I did notice that after playing it and streaming it, and I saw I put it into OBS for my category. It's like, oh, just last week, Baldur's Gate 3 was at like over like 10, 20, or no, 100, 200,000. And then one time I streamed it and it was at 8,000. I was like, wow, that really dropped off. So that makes sense. Okay. So they're talking about best streaming consistently. Okay, that makes sense. I've totally come around on it. I do agree with Valorant being the winner. Best lead performer. I'm gonna probably butcher some of these names, so bear with me. Yuri Lowenthal, Peter Parker in Marvel Spider-Man 2, Cameron Monaghan, Cal Kestis in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Ilka Vili and Matthew Poretta, Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2. So there must have been like a young and old, I'm guessing, or something like that. Not Najee Jeter, Miles Morales in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Elise Chappelle, Kathy Jonathan in Deliver Us Mars, and Malini Lieberd, Saga Anderson, and Alan Wake 2. How can Alan Wake? How can two games have two lead performers? Usually there's just one, the main character, so that doesn't make sense. Why Marvel has two and Alan Wake has two? Well, technically Alan Wake has three. That makes no sense. I don't understand that. Oh, does it? I haven't played it, so okay, that makes sense then. But the winner of Best Lead Performer goes to Ben Starr, who is Clive Rossfield in Final Fantasy 16. And until I play more of the game, I don't know if this is correct or incorrect. But I will say one thing. Uh, I have to deduct some points from Ben strictly because he said his favorite Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy VIII, which is hands down by far, I think almost unanimously in the Final Fantasy community, is the worst Final Fantasy. So, congratulations, Ben. You have lost points in my book and all that. Best supporting performer. And pretty sure before I even list off names, I'm pretty sure someone can say who the best supporting performer is. Uh, but I'm just going to go through the nominees to give them their shout out. Laura Bailey, Mary Jane in Marvel Spider Man 2, Sissy Jones, Andreja, Andreja, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Starfield, Amelia Tyler, narrator in Baldur's Gate 3, Ralph Ineson, Sidolphus Telamon in Final Fantasy 16, Patricia Somerset, Princess Zelda in Tears of the Kingdom, uh, Idris Ilba, Solomon Reed in Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. And I will agree, Amelia Tyler is a goat. She needs I'm pretty sure Baldur's Gate 3 is going to propel her into other narrating roles or even voice acting roles. If this was her first foray into it, she has been great in what I've played so far. Being able to just paint the picture and everything, she is great. But unfortunately, uh, oh, before I go there, I'm also surprised Ralph Ineson, Sidolphus Telamon, didn't win it because people love Sidolphus, and so far I've got to him in Final Fantasy 16. Uh, I do like him. His character is great. His voice actor is great. Yeah, I've seen some of the bloopers. They are hilarious. But yeah, I'm surprised like Sidolphus wasn't the winner. But who the winner is, I'm pretty sure is not going to be a surprise to anybody when I say it. The best supporting performer is Neil Newbon, Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3. Hands down, uh, either him or Amelia should have won it. Either one of those would have won it, and I think the gaming community would have wholeheartedly agreed that either one of them deserved it. They're both great. Asterion has so many fanboys and fangirls. His acting is great. Being the character Astarion, how he portrays him and brings him to life is just great. Honestly, he deserved it. I don't see any issues with that, like him or Amelia. Now, on to the next category. We have the Nintendo Game of the Year. And we have the nominees are Pikmin 4, Fire Emblem Engage, which honestly didn't I I bought it and played it and enjoyed it. I didn't know it came out this year. I thought it was like a last year game. So that's good to know that it came out this year. That's news to me. Metroid Prime Remastered, Octopath Traveler 2, and Fae Farm. Honestly, I agree with the winner, which is Tears of the Kingdom. I wholeheartedly agree. Even though I really did enjoy Fire Emblem Engage, Tears of the Kingdom was just a great follow up story. Beginning to end, everything you can do in it is just great. It deserves to get Nintendo Game of the Year. It was the best Nintendo game they put out. Maybe Pikmin 4. I haven't played it. I want to because I did enjoy the first Pikmin's, but since I haven't played it, I can't say anything on it. But Tears of the Kingdom, out of those, deserve the win. Now we have PC Game of the Year. Diablo 4, Dave the Diver, Tashia, Tchia. I don't know how to pronounce that. Tashia, Shia, however you pronounce it. System Shock and Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew. The winner is Baldur's Gate, which I'm surprised it's just on the PC Game of the Year because the next category is PlayStation Game of the Year, and it's not even a nominee. It wasn't even nominated. But PlayStation Game of the Year, the winners are Final Fantasy VI. The nominees, not the winners. I might have said finalists, whatever. The nominees are Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, Humanity, never heard of, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, and Star Wars. Oh, excuse me, Jedi Survivor. Oh, excuse me. And this is also where people might not agree with me on this. The winner of PlayStation Game of the Year was Resident Evil 4, and as much as I love the game, I enjoy it. It is a faithful remake of Final Fantasy IV with adding more to it and making it more streamlined and the controls better for the newer consoles. Because back in the day, the only good console to play Resident Evil 4 on was the Wii, with how the old controls and how they had it all. The Wii with the motion controller and everything, it just worked great. But now on the new systems and updated and all that, it's great. But it's a remaster. not a remaster, it's a remake. And it's not like they changed a lot of stuff with it besides, adding better mechanics and just letting the mechanics work better. It's almost the same game, just better graphics. And because of that, I don't think Resident Evil 4 should have won it because it's just a remake. It's just the game. They may have added like a small, tiny amount of extra story, but they didn't change a bunch of things. Like not Resident Evil, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I would agree. I mean, it didn't come out this year, but I would agree that it's a whole different game and would deserve to be, in the game of the year discussion because they've changed so much. The whole time in Midgar in Remake is only about like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours of gameplay in the original game, but they turned it into 30-ish hours with more story, more stuff to do, and all that. But yeah, I I would have to say, I probably would have given it the Armored Core 6. My opinion. I haven't played any of the other games on here. I'm starting to play 16, but with how much hype and how much people loved Armored Core 6, I think Armored Core should have won it over Resident Evil 4. Now we're going on the Xbox Game of the Year. We have Chance of Sonar, Hi-Fi Rush, Planet of Lana, Dead Space, and Pentiment. No idea. Winner was Starfield, and again, this one makes sense, even though it's people have issues with the game because there's not a lot of substance, just a lot of look at. But again, like I haven't played Dead Space in a while, the original one. So I don't know between the original game and the remake. I don't know how much they changed. If they changed a lot, that's how I see it. If it's a remake and they change a lot about the game, then then I believe it deserves to be in discussion as a quote unquote new game. And even though it's called a remake, it's still a new game. So if they changed a lot of it, I would say Dead Space probably over Starfield in my opinion. But if it's just pretty much a remake, they didn't add much, they just, updated the graphics and all that, then yeah, Starfield won. Now we're going on to we have two more categories. This one and then one other. This one is the next category is the most wanted game, which I'm pretty sure that makes it's obvious. Games that want that are coming out in the future that people are hyped for and are waiting for. We have Death Stranding 2. I didn't know they were going to make a second one. I thought the first one bombed so hard that they weren't going to make a second one. But whatever. Death Stranding 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Tekken 8, eh. Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. I'm surprised it took this long for a company to do anything with Chernobyl. Then we have Hades 2, Fable, Hollow Knight Silk Song. I thought that one already came out. Everywhere, Frostpunk 2, Arc 2, Metal Gear Solid Triangle Snake Eater, Persona 3 Reloaded, Bulwark, Falconeer Chronicles, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Pacific Drive, Black Myth Wukong, Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin. Uh, I don't think Persona 3 Reloaded should be on there because that's just a remaster or remake that they're going to add a little bit to. Um, but the winner, this one, for me personally, I'm hyped for this one, but one of the other games I'm a tiny bit hyped more for it, and I'll say it here. The most wanted game, the winner was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I wholeheartedly agree. I'm looking so forward to Seven Rebirth, seeing where the story goes, what's going to be changed now since they've changed so much. Zack's alive, and somehow Cloud still has all of Zack's memories, still has the Buster Sword and all that. So there's so much about it that you want to know what's going to happen. But for me, Fable, Fable just eeks it out above Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I love the Fable games. The Fable games were the sole reason why I had an Xbox 360, an Xbox, and then an Xbox 360. And it really made me sad when Lionhead Studios was disbanded or whatnot. And the fact is, I believe they were working on a Fable MMO, but since you know Microsoft disbanded that studio, they can't make it. I mean, they might be able to now since they have seems the rights to the name Fable, since it was an IP that was registered to Microsoft, so that might change. But Fable, I'm super excited for. Now we come to the final category, the ultimate game of the year. The nominees, the finalists: Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, agree to be up there for conversation. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, never played it. Never been a superhero person, so I don't know if it deserves to be there. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, haven't played it. It probably deserves to be up there. Alan Wake 2, haven't played it. Probably deserves to be up there. Resident Evil 4, I've played it. Don't think it should be nominated because again, it's just a remake. Pretty much the same game, just they tweaked the mechanics and made the graphics better. Cocoon, never played. Starfield, haven't played, but the hype for it originally was good, but then it died down because it had no substance. Final Fantasy 16, I'm starting to play. People seem to have enjoyed it, so I agree it should be a finalist for Ultimate Game of the Year. Diablo 4, throw that shit in the trash. Forza Motorsport, I don't think a racing game like Forza should be in the Ultimate Game of the Year discussion. Throw that out. Armored Core 6, I do agree. Assassin's Creed Mirage, don't agree because it's pretty much just a DLC that they just decided to charge $60 for instead of just making it a DLC to the last game. So throw that shit out. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I've heard good things about it, so I agree. Street Fighter 6, again, fighting games like like racing games, I don't think should be an Ultimate Game of the Year discussion. Throw that shit out. Metroid Prime Remastered, just for that last word, remastered, should not be in discussion. Shouldn't have been a finalist. Hate me all you want. Throw that shit in the trash. Hi-Fi Rush, Lords of the Fallen, heard good things. It's another Dead Souls, the Souls-like game. Agree. Should be in there. Dead Space, like I said before, it's just a remake. Don't know how much they changed from the original game. I go back to my previous statement. If they changed a lot, Ultimate Game of the Year. If Dead Space changed a lot from the original game to this game, then it should be in here. But if it's just kind of like a upgrade of graphics, slightly change the mechanics and stuff like that, throw that shit in the trash. Shouldn't be in discussions. And then Sea of Stars had a lot of hype, a lot of talk about it. I agree, it should be here. And the winner, the ultimate game of the year winner. I mean, this is going to come no surprise to anybody, but it's Baldur's Gate 3. Hands down, deserves to be there. I don't think any other game was going to win Ultimate Game of the Year. If it did, there was going to be a riot. I can already tell. I already know. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 deserves to be Game of the Year. I'm pretty sure it's going to win Game of the Year at the actual Game Awards that'll happen, I think, sometime in December. I have to look it up. I'm not exactly sure when they happen, but I think it's sometime in December. But yeah, and that was the Golden Joystick Awards. Not the end all be all of Game Awards. That's happening soon. And when it does, if I don't get a chance to go over the nominees and who I think should win, I will do an episode uh, covering it after it goes through, discussing if I agree that who won each category should have won each category. Um, so look forward to that. Now, at the end of last episode, I did a segment that was I it's called You Got Me, You Hooked Me, You Lost Me. And I was talking about Final Fantasy and how the past previous two Final Fantasies, at the time I had started playing 16. From what I know about 16 and the ending and everything, and how 15 was kind of the same thing, uh, how much 13 left a bad taste in people's mouths, I was starting to lose faith and confidence in Square Enix and the Final Fantasy IP. I've started playing 16. I will say this, I've played about 2.5 hours, I think it is. It is the darkest intro to a Final Fantasy game ever. And it threw me. I was not expecting that. Some have started off kind of dark, but not to this extent. It was also something I didn't like, and because it's not really done much in Final Fantasy games, in two scenes in the first 2.5 hours, they were very sexual in nature. And I was like, what is this, Square Enix? What are you doing? I know you're probably trying to uh agree that, your fans have grown up and are able to see this and probably understand it and not think it's weird, but it's just not Final Fantasy. But I do also have some other things, of course, but it's recorded, so it's fine. Do have some other things to say about it. Uh, it does have two modes, which I do like. It has story driven and combat driven. Both seem obvious. Story driven, it's going to make the combats easier, so you can just listen to the story and go through the story. Combat driven, combat's going to be what they wanted it to be and no holds punches. But even in combat driven, they give you like items that makes it to where all combos can be just done with pressing one button. I'm like, what the hell? Another one is time slows down when you're about to get hit, so that way you can dodge at the right time, or it just automatically dodges for you. And then another item is once you hit like a certain percentage of health, it just automatically uses a potion. And I get it. They put these things in that for people with accessibility. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for accessibility in games. Let everyone play the game and let everyone enjoy it. But I feel like that should be like something you toggle. Like, yes, I need accessibility assistance. So go and check mark this and whatnot, and you get these items that help you to make the game pretty much plays itself. You just walk around and press one button. So I don't like that. The story is good though. The story has me hooked. But they just have too many things right now that just make it to where it's like this is what people got on Square Enix for 13, because 13 played itself pretty much. You just move around and you can just press one button because auto and all the characters will do what the AI says it should do, and for the most part, is actually pretty spot on to what you should do. But this is like action combat. This isn't turn-based combat. You don't want to just have to be having the gameplay itself, moving around, going from place to place, and just hitting one button. And the dodges can be done automatically unless it's an unavoidable attack. So I don't know. 13 has a lot, not 13, 16. The story is good. The characters are good so far, but the whole combat and how easy they're making it and how they're just repeating the same mistakes as 13, still, the game has a lot to make up to where I'll can maybe change my opinion on it. So yep, that's my update on 16 of what I've played so far. Now I'm going to turn it to the segment questions from chat. I did say last time I want to try to keep it to questions of what I talked about, and I realized that was stupid. You guys are probably have many gaming questions and stuff like that maybe doesn't pertain to what I have talked about, because it could be like, hey, what's your favorite like gaming memory or whatnot, something like that, and all that. So Answer away. Do you guys have any questions that you want this blue-haired cat to answer? Anyone at all? Come on now, don't be shy. Ask away. If you don't have any, then that's fine. Yes, Baldur's Gate won everyone's heart this year. I'm pretty sure it's going to win big at the actual Game Awards. Um, and if it doesn't, then there will be riots. I can honestly tell you, there will be riots in the street. If it doesn't, at least. So we'll go for the first question: the most underrated game you played and you think needs more recognition. Man, I have to really think about this. The most underrated game I've played. Ooh, I don't know. Because like right now, I haven't really been looking at any games and stuff like that. If I would have to say, maybe not a game, but I would have to say a series. And I know recently they just remastered Star Ocean: The Second Story, and people are loving it and people are praising it. But besides that, the last couple ones, the Divine Force and Integrity and Faithlessness, people didn't like them, but they're such great games. They took like a left turn from what the games have been to where it's like, I mean, Second Story kind of did it too. It was the first one, then they and all that, but it was like mostly like you are a federation, you are a federation member of Earth on a space station because Earth has been like because of a nuclear war and all the nukes that were used, it's uninhabitable. You have to go to these other planets to try to find one for Earth, and then you uncover some evil that's trying to destroy all galaxies and all that. But with integrity and faithlessness, and I think the one before it too, they threw curveballs. You are the people living on an underdeveloped planet that the people from the Space Federation come to, and then you get sucked into the conflict. And I think it's great because if they kept with the same style and the same thing, then it was just going to die out, and people were going to stop playing it because it was the same boring story over and over again. So that's why I think Star Ocean needs more recognition and need more people to understand that changing up the story and how it's told from a different perspective is good. What did they change in the RE4 remake? One of the biggest things, like, I don't know pinpoint like details and stuff like that. Oh, like this section's different and better and all that, or yada yada. But the biggest thing was uh with this one was like an I mean, they've all been over the shoulder, but the aiming is real was like back on when it first was made. If you tried to play it on PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, I think it was, those joysticks weren't really made for the type of control and everything that they wanted Resident Evil 4 to be. It was really just the Wii because it had the motion control, so you can just like point and shoot with pretty much like you're holding a gun. So it made it so much easier. But with the remake, they changed the mechanics of it and made it a lot smoother and easier to aim. The joysticks, the hardware is much better, can handle it better, more precise. That's like the biggest thing that they changed with the RE4 remake. Because if they kept the old style, it wouldn't have played well on PlayStation or the Xbox. That's the biggest change. The Yakuza franchise, and I'm happy, and I'm beyond happy it got nominated for most anticipated game. No, for your underrated game, I can't really say that's underrated. People love Yakuza, the Yakuza franchise. So I don't, to me, at least, I mean, I don't know about the whole gaming community, but a lot of people that I know of all love the Yakuza franchise and all that. No, fair. You're right. I want to see you play Team Fight Manager. It's not just like TFT. Let me look this up. I'll look it up later. That's different. Any other questions? No? Then that will do it for the second episode of Press Start, the podcast that is anything and everything video games. Thank you all for coming and tuning in. Uh, I'm going to be doing a bunch of episodes here in the beginning. And then after these first 5 episodes, they will be coming at you live once a week on Sundays at 7 p.m. Have a good night, everybody. And I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye bye.